And now, here's your host of Shaping Success, Wes Tankersley.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to Shaping Success. I'm your host, Wes Tankersley, back here with another edition of Shaping Success with my friend Chris Kram. He's back. We did an episode, man, it's got to be 2 years ago, maybe. And we just kind of talked about what was going on with you, and a lot has changed. So you had reached out and said, hey, let's get back on. Let's talk again. And I love the conversation. You and I always kind of have like the same thing kind of going on. And it's just interesting to see how people grow, you know, because that's kind of what it's all about. Like, I've changed jobs since we last talked. You've gotten another degree and done some other stuff. And so let's just kind of, let's talk about that a little bit, man. What's going on with you?
Hey, good. Thanks for having me on again there, Wes. This is, we were watching One Drink Wednesday, and I was like, you know what, man, I just want to chat with Wes again. It was a good time. Like I said, we have a similar thought process, and we love baseball, so it just kind of works. But yeah, I think 2022 was the episode, so we're going on 3 years. And when I stopped 2022, I finished my bachelor's, and I was like, I'm just going to keep working and figure stuff out, and I ended up deciding to go and get my MBA. So I had to go out to Indiana University. It's actually #1 school, so I'll give them a plug.
Yeah.
But, that was an interesting experience because it was a school that you actually had to go and fly out to and be in person with. And so it was a ton of work. And obviously I still work. So it's not
Right.
like I'm doing school. And on top of that, I've changed positions probably 4 times since 2022. So the workload has drastically changed. And I've also took over another YouTube channel.
Nice.
So I've picked that up and have tried to grow it. It's got a little over 1 million views since the first year I started with it. And then, what else do we do? Oh, I got 2 businesses going. So, yeah. I would say it's 2, but it's really one whole business. And I'm kind of figuring out really where the footprint is for it. I thought I wanted to go one way, just consulting. I thought I wanted to go one way, just the media. And I've kind of figured out that it can all live under one umbrella.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how that works out for you, because you end up starting to do something. And like, I'm finding that out right now with starting my own business. It's like, I'm going to go this way, and then end up, shifting. And you always have to be willing to be able to make that shift and figure out what's going on and what's changing and how to, just keep rolling with it.
Yeah, to touch on this, I had an opportunity that just kind of came up out of just randomness because of someone that I knew outside of my one business is media.
Right.
So I go to like racetracks and stuff, and I'll go and shoot all of the track content, and I'll give it to the racetrack, and they use that for their promotional stuff. I've also worked with like KTM and the local dealership here for the race cars that they do. They set up a whole new like driving experience out here in Wilcox and site, and that's help driving people to it. So I thought the media would be focused around motorsports. It's like my YouTube channel, Calimoto TV, is motorcycles. So Right. It's like, okay, this is where I'm going to stay. And I found that this opportunity was for an electrical engineering safety device.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. So,
well, people don't understand, like, you're an engineer, right? Like, you have your regular degree is like kind of in aerospace, right? Or not, or airplanes and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. So I am an engineer, and I do work on with the government and stuff like that in developmental programs. So I understand that world. I never thought to do media for that side of the world, right. And that genre. So this opportunity kind of came up, and it was like, holy crap, there's a lot of really small engineering companies that need help getting into various markets, especially the DoD. And I kind of know that space really well.
Yeah, it's interesting. My brother is a civil engineer, and as you're talking about that, I was thinking about like marketing and how does he market himself. And I don't picture him like going out on a job site and showing people how, the poop rolls downhill because he's a civil engineer. Like I don't see him saying, "Oh, this sewer line is this way and like this is why you want to do this." It's funny when you said that because you don't really think of that as being something that media would be involved in, right?
Yeah, it's really just I'm finding that these smaller companies, especially like small to medium, like 15 to 100 people ish, um, their marketing and media side is either really antiquated, meaning that it's stock footage with really bad audio and the lighting's bad, or there's no color grading. Like there's no professional refinement to their product. So when you put it out there, especially when they're trying to do it on like Facebook or Instagram or even YouTube, it doesn't really bring the people that they want. So because of all the YouTube that I've done and the Instagram stuff that I've done, I've sort of understood how that whole process works. Even though the algorithm does whatever it wants to do 90% of the time,
Right.
there's that art/science mix with it, and I'm not only doing it for like I create it and do it, I help teach the people within the company
Hmm.
how to actually do it themselves, and it ends up being a really good collaborative work that's still creative, which I love.
And this is in addition to your day job, right? Like you're doing this on the side, basically.
Yes, technically I'm off right now, but I have work to go do.
Yeah.
And then obviously edit and all that stuff throughout the week. So, and yeah.
So why did you? So what did you said you went back got your MBA, which I find kind of interesting. Having to have to be in like Indiana and having to do that, and you're married, right? You have a wife, and
Yes.
you're gonna have to like fly and go stay away from her for a while. Like, how did that work out? Like going to go be in person in class and stuff like that.
So it wasn't the entirety of the time. I had to go there a few times throughout the semester. So it wasn't that bad. It was like 7, 8 days at a time. So being gone for a week, not a big deal. It's just like a normal work trip. I mean, she leaves for longer than I do for
Hmm.
work. There's times she's gone 2 or 3 weeks. I'm like, what do I
Yeah.
do?
It's like you go and you get kind of bored after a while. My wife, every time she goes away for like a week, like day one, day two, all right, I'm going to watch some TV and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do the things that I can't watch and or whatever. And then you start to get bored and you're like, no, now I need, I miss them. I miss the kids. I miss the wife. It's one of those things. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, where are my dogs at? I'm used to having three large breed dogs sitting on me or shedding on me, and it's weird to be in a hotel room that doesn't have any fur in it. So I got to like shake my clothes out to feel at home.
Right. So why did you end up going back to get your MBA? What was the thought process behind that? Was it for a pay raise? Was it for just to kind of further yourself? Or I know like people like us are always trying to get more, right? Like what can I learn? What can I do? How can I expand my horizons, right?
So this answer is kind of twofold. I didn't do it for a raise. I did it for a career path change, meaning I'm in engineering, deeply embedded in it, and I'm trying to get to the strategic and business development side of the company that I work on with, so that instead of being annoyed with the decisions being made, I can be part of those annoying decisions. I want to help, see it from not only the technician side, which I've been, from the engineering side again, which I've been, and then from a lead side, which I'm currently at. So I can look at it through all three of those facets and kind of work on it. So because the company has the structure they do to promote, well, I had to get experience or foundational experience somewhere. And the MBA was sort of that driving force to get that experience and also look forward out. What can it do for me outside of the company that I'm in? With the company that I started, it's helped me not only steer my company the right way, but also help those other companies that may not understand marketing segment and how to actually get into them, especially the DoD, because it is tricky. So uh, the MBA has really helped me with that foundational experience, but also help gain some credibility. outside of just the work that I've done. People see that and like, okay, well, he's educated and has experience.
Right. Yeah, and I think that one of the things that there's two sides to that, right? There's a lot of things right now that you don't really necessarily have to have that degree, but then there's jobs that it's very necessary because people aren't going to trust you or allow you to work in their profession if you don't have it. And what I like to tell people is like it really depends on your pathway. Like if you're going to be a doctor, if you're going to be an engineer, if you want to do those things, you can't just go do it and then let people or people won't sign off on it for you, right? Like you have to have, like, if you're an engineer, you have to have that stamp. You have to be able to sign off on that product, even if you're having someone else do it for you. So you have to have that experience. So it's a good way to gain that. And it sounds like in your career, it was very necessary in order to keep moving forward.
Especially the direction I wanted to go. Like I said, I didn't want to continue on just the engineering path. When the strategic side of the business is really what drives me the most. It's the most interesting and continuously changing thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the school, the other part of that answer was the school's been the only and really helped me feel like I'm growing.
Mm-hmm.
When you work, you do the same thing every single day, and you never really feel like you're growing.
Right.
So to have classes and every 12 to 16 weeks do a test and show what you've learned,
Mm-hmm.
or do a project and show that you can actually do what they taught you. I think it was one of those, like, I don't want to say instant gratification, but it's just a little marker to boost your confidence that you've actually learned something.
What do you, and I find that interesting because, like, what at this point, you got your MBA. Is there more for it? Like, are you thinking, well, I'm going to go get my doctorate, or I'm going to go get another degree or something like that to continue to challenge yourself? Because, like, I find with myself, the challenge for me is like, I almost thought about going back and getting my MBA at one point. I have a master's degree in education and a bachelor's in education. And I'm like, if I get my MBA, it might teach me how to run my business a little bit better. But I also feel like if I do that, it's kind of a waste of money because I can get the skill level that I have with what I need, from doing the work and talking to people and figuring those things out. Do you feel like you're going to have to keep going to be motivated, or what are you going to do there?
Ironically enough, I start my doctorates in August. So I I I've considered this, what I wanted to do outside of the MBA. And yes, I enjoy school. It was kind of weird. I never thought I would, but I found a passion in just, you don't know what you don't know, and school provides a way for you to learn it. And going with doctorates, it's going to help me personally. Obviously, it's also one of those motivational, like, it's a terminal degree. No one in my family has a doctorate. None of them really even have a master's in my immediate family. So I've already gone past that. This is really for me, but again, that credibility. Now I can say that and prove, especially with any sort of research I do, in expertise in this field with DoD and marketing.
Right. What does your dad say about that? I was listening to our previous episode a little bit about it, and we were talking about how, like, you were a baseball player and you're actually a pretty good one, and then you get injured and end up going into the military. And we were talking a little bit about, like, hey, you're going to join the Marines or whatever, and you're like, nope, Navy. And I found it funny as we were talking about that. It's like he's got to be looking at you right now and be very proud in my thought, because of the fact that you are that. Like, I'm the first person in my family to have a master's degree. And it's just crazy to think about all the things that you had to go through to get there.
Yeah, they tell me they're proud of me, but the funny thing is like, even though when you talk to your parents, you hear the proudness or whatever it is, you still revert back to like the 12, 13-year-old version of yourself and go, wait, I'm not that anymore. But we've accomplished what we've accomplished. And so from his standpoint, he says he's proud. So I'll take that and be like, hey, you little giddy kid.
It's still tough though, right? Because, like, you always think, even though they say it, like, do they really mean it? Or is it, you like get in your head and you're like, I don't really want any, I do, but I don't. Like, you don't want them to say that because that's just the era that we grew up in, where it's like, I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do. So you don't need to tell me, hey, good job. You don't need to tell me nothing. I'm just going to go out there and I'm going to bust my ass and I'm going to make things happen. But we always look for that, a little bit of pat on the back, a little.
Yeah, like the little attaboys.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to hear them. I've been away from the family for so long that my need of acceptance from them isn't really that high as it used to be.
Mhm.
I've again surpassed where anyone in my family's been. So all of this is really a passion that's just internal, that I want to achieve certain goals, and the doctorates is one of them. But building something that's truly mine and successful, that's really what I'm trying to get to. And you mentioned learning along the way, which is a great thing to do because you learn real world stuff versus like me doing case studies. That is a real world thing, but I personally didn't experience it.
Right.
So I look at it as, okay, do I want to make a couple $1,000 mistake, or do I want to make $100,000 mistake? You know what I mean? So I'm trying to limit that, which, as an entrepreneur, you should know that if you don't really take risks, you're not going to get anywhere.
Right.
So there's this weird balance. So the education is trying to make the smartest decision with that risk.
Yeah. It's hard for me because I'm listening to you and I'm thinking all these things and I'm just going, what I hear and what I see, like with you, it's like you want something else to work, but then you're doing what you have to do to make that work. It's almost like you want to be in your own business doing what you're doing, but you can't really do it just yet. Is that kind of what I'm getting? Like you're trying to work towards, I'm done with working for someone. I'm going to work for myself.
Yeah, that's 100% the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is it. Companies are fine, and the one I work for is great. They treat me really well, but there's a ceiling, and then there's a path to get to each little rung, and someone else makes that decision, and you compete against other people, and it's not always fair how you compete. And it's you're going to compete in business like your sunshade. There's other stuff out there like it, but you are the unique factor,
Right.
the way you interact with your customers and everything. And I look at it the same way as, like, I know that there's marketing people that are better than me in various roles, but I know they don't have the engineering background, the particular eye that I have, especially when it comes to like stuff like motorsports.
Mhm.
Like I ride and drive, so like I know if I get a picture taken of me, how I'd like it to look.
Right.
So I try to translate that over into what I do and what I show people, and it ends up being a little bit more dynamic than just a really clear photo on a racetrack, which is fine. But I like putting motion blur in. Say you're a slow rider, I make you look fast.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's kind of the thing. It's like, as I know, like how an engineer is and what they do and all those things, it's kind of funny. Like I got to tell them something. How long do you wait before you tell people to fix something that could be fixed?
I It really depends on the person. There's always something that can be improved, and I've found that when I give unsolicited advice, it it comes across as going to a place that says no solicitation, get out
Right.
of here type thing. So I try to not do that. And unless someone goes, hey, what do you think? And then I'll obviously expand on it and try to help, in the same way, like for me, someone says, hey, you're doing something weird. Okay, how can I fix it?
Right.
So for that stuff, it doesn't really bother me because I look at it as it's yours, not mine.
Right.
So if you're fine with it, then my opinion means almost nothing.
It means something, but it's funny because like I remember when I got this camera, I reached out to you and I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? And like you gave me some ideas on like get the camera, rent some lenses, see what works best for you, do this, do that. And like that's always that information that you're looking for. And I think that that's a great way to look at it because like if you're giving unsolicited advice, it might fall on deaf ears and people might look at it more of like something like, hey, this guy's just annoying. But I've never got that feeling from you. It's always like, hey, I just want to help you out. If you want help, let me know and we'll get it squared away.
Yeah, it's helping people can be seen as going, well, you know more than everyone else. So, oh, this really uppity and pretentious approach to things, when in reality, it's like you see something that can be improved. This is how you could do it. I did do it with a local place because they did an ad, and they're bringing more of their people in the videos, which is good, but they're using like a cell phone from a distance
Uh-huh.
outside. So you can imagine there's wind noise, road noise, and there's a distance problem. So I told them, like, hey, I can't even hear you.
Right.
Like, so I showed them the mics, and I had zero response.
That's crazy,
So
because you and I went through the same thing. Like, you're like watching a video of mine of like I was doing, I don't know, I think a Shutter video or something for my previous company, and you're like, hey, dude, you should try these out. And what did I do? They're not in here. They're in my truck, because when I go and do something, I'm like, oh, I better pull that out, because there's two ways to look at it, right? Like, you can create and just do it, but then at what point are you going to get better at the creating? And it drives me insane. We were on here before. I'm talking about this. I have this, like, I think this thing was like $600. 2 years in it, and I have had such a hard time with it doing what I wanted to do. And it's like, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and it pisses me off, where I need to learn to be a little bit better about like figuring it out. But you always are trying to improve, and I think that that's what people don't understand is, like, I started out doing this podcast with an iPad and some lav mics that plugged into the iPad, and then ended up getting a webcam. I was using that and then streaming it from my computer, and then now I have this Sony EV here that I'm streaming it from, and it's like, it always improves, and there's always something that you're trying to do to make it better. And why not reach out to someone who knows, because they've done it? I'm sure you've used multiple cameras, multiple lenses, different mics, all that stuff. And you did it before I did. So it's good to have that kind of resource and ask those people. And usually they're willing to help.
yeah, in your situation, looking at someone that wants to improve and grow, it's the best thing to do is reach out to them. Most people are I find that when you tap on someone that's uniquely interested and passionate about what they do, they're more than willing to help. Like, for instance, there's a local videographers that are here that do more than just shoot videos. Like, they actually have done movies and short films and stuff, and they're now shooting real estate videos, and they're completely different than anything else you see. But they have a unique editing style, and they use After Effects a lot, and I'm kind of versed in it. I asked them a question like, hey, how do you track something when you can't get a clean block of something because the initial shot's blurry or something crosses in front of it? Dude literally gave me a minute and a half personal video of how to track and edit stuff like that. And you'll find that there's people like that that'll go that extra mile for you.
Right.
And it's just, having that wherewithal to go, well, I don't know how to do this, and realizing you want to improve yourself. So asking a question, and then just reaching out to people. People like being nice. You want to improve, right? You don't want to keep the same podcast. You have a vision of where you want this to be, right?
Right.
How do you get there? And that's kind of what we're experiencing now.
Yeah, it's great. And that's the thing. It's like, I think that most people will be like, well, I don't have this and I don't have that, so I'm just not going to do it. And it's like, start somewhere. Just do it. Like, yeah, it may start out on your phone. You may just be like doing a TikTok video and talking to your phone, and that's all you got. But like, if you want to improve it, if you want to make it better, then you're going to start like, well, okay, now this time I'm going to do this, and this time I'm going to do that, and the lighting was better, and all those things that you can do to improve it. And it doesn't have to be everything all at once. Like I talked about before, I didn't have this camera before I had an iPad. I didn't have a studio before. I didn't have the sound treatments. I didn't have all the things that I needed to make this happen. I just little by little continually grew it and gradually got where I am now. And I am still not done. There's lots of other things I want to do, but we just have to keep trying to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. And you'll try new stuff. You'll try new tech and realize you don't know enough about it, and try to string something and it crashes on you. And then you just get wildly frustrated. But that's kind of the joys of learning, is failing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing, is that people don't understand that failure is part of the process, no matter what it is. you're going to have to keep working to try and find the answer to what you're looking for.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's sort of the other thing about school is you have the pass fail, you have the grades, you have that benchmark of where what you're doing well, what you're not doing well. So you kind of get that again, that instant feedback of going, well, I'm not doing very well in this course. Maybe I don't actually know and actually have to try harder.
Well, that's the thing too, is like it's measurable. You know, when I was a teacher, it was always like, well, how do you tell if a kid is improving? How do you tell, like as a PE teacher, how do I prove that what I did for that child was making them better at what they were doing? And so they hated the physical fitness test, but you have to do those because you have to show that if you're in a weight training class, I got stronger. You know, like how do you do that? Well, I did 130 10 times. Now I'm doing 150 10 times. So it shows that you have an improvement. There's a lot of things where you don't have that. And then how can you really measure yourself? And I think, you know, we talked about baseball last time where batting average good one's 300. Well, they're still measuring that, right? They're measuring how many times the guy went up to bat, how many times they got a hit, how many times they walked. Like stats are weird. I'm not a math guy, but I do like the measurable things so that I can show that I've attained the goal that I'm looking for.
Yeah, quantitative versus qualitative responses are, interesting. How do you make something that doesn't have a measure be useful to you? And it's kind of almost in a sense of feel. Like, how do you feel about something? Do you have the confidence, not a, I know everything type confidence and actually not know it. I think it's a Dunning-Kruger effect where you think you actually know, but you don't know.
Right.
It's really a proven going, hey, I know how to do this and I can show it. So it's not necessarily a number. It's an action, so there's ways to get that internal feeling going. Okay, I know how to do this because I trained it and I've learned it and now I can apply it.
Yeah. And that I think it's going to be awesome what you're doing with that, because I feel like as you go, you're going to find this way. Just like you said, like you didn't really know that you were going to fall into these people who didn't know how to market, and you were doing something else, like your YouTube videos. Like I think one of the first ones I watched, you were like doing a truck or something, but you have the bike stuff and you have all that other stuff, and then it just kind of transfers into this other thing. So about yourself with like the marketing. I know you said you didn't know it all, but what are you doing to kind of make that better and keep pushing yourself forward into this new realm that you're coming into?
There's a few things. One of them is understanding and asking the right questions to the clients and trying to help them explain their vision of what sort of content they want to create is. There's always that very general, we'd like to see this unit on this component doing this. Okay. But as a grand scheme of a video, who are you reaching out to? What type of people do you want to respond to you? And, what sort of message are you trying to send? Do you want a playful? Do you want a serious? Do you want it to be a combination of both, which is possible? So making sure that my communication is to the point where I can understand what they want and then go execute it, because we've created a strong picture of things. Because a lot of times I go into stuff and they're looking to me to give them the answer to what they should be doing. And I'm like, well, I might understand your product a little bit, but you work it every single day. You know it better than I do. Right. And getting that from them is actually more challenging than you think, because I'm like, you guys are around it all the time. You know what you want it to be. Just, what story are we telling? So understanding how to do that story, the back end of stuff, the tools like Google Ad Share, Meta Business, and stuff like that is the other thing that I'm trying to really understand, along with the SEO and, just getting into the right market segments and understanding them.
I think that's one of the toughest things I've noticed as well. Like before we hired a company to do our marketing, not our marketing, but our internet marketing. They built our website for us. They started running the ads for us. And at first, when I first started this company, 6 months ago, I'm throwing stuff up. Like, I'm doing all the social media posts. I'm taking pictures of installs. I'm doing all these things, but I don't necessarily know how to market what I'm doing, like doing the Google ads or the Facebook ads. Like, you can go in there and say, let's boost this post. And then you're like, let's do it to these people and whatever. But you don't really know. You're just, you're kind of throwing it on the wall. And it's really good to have a professional who's like dealt with ads and marketing and things like that, who can go, well, we really want to narrow it down to this, and we really want to show them this, and we really want to, figure that out. But you have to have that good base. And I think that that's what a lot of people who don't market understand is you're trying to answer a question, and you got to know the answer to that question. So what's the question? And that's probably what you're doing. You're walking in there, it's like, well, what do you need people to know about you? Like, what do you need them? What's the question that most people that you're working with need answered, and how are we going to show them what that answer is? How are you going to provide that, right?
Yes, it's what you're alluding to is what value do you have to them?
Yep.
There's a need, and you bring a lot of value. It's just, how do you portray that, and how do you get across to the right people? You mentioned as someone that's posting, and then you have a company that's also doing it. So I worked with a Kram Maga school, fantastic people, and I was doing a lot of their ads for them. And what I had noticed was I would put the ads up the way I needed to in certain posts and put them out there. And then there was post upon post upon post within the same day over top of it. And it was just diluting the crap out of what I was putting up. And it was actually hindering those ads. So I tried to talk to them and go about it. And I ended up going, hey, post what you need to post, and that's perfectly fine. I'll help as I can.
Yeah.
That's sort of how that went. But yeah.
That's a hard one when you have like a client that is trying to do something as well as what you're trying to do, and like not trusting the process. But these are all things that like people have to look at when they're trying to learn how to market. And I think that it is a tough thing at first because, we have a 3-person business and we're trying to make things happen. And obviously free is better than cost, right? But if you can't make it happen, and the best thing we ever did was allow them to do this, because instead of getting, 1 or 2 leads every 2 weeks, now we're getting, 1 or 2 a day, which is very good for us because that's what you need. So sometimes you just got to get out of the way and let the person who's the professional do what they need to do.
It's hard to do when you own a business and it's your baby. A lot of people say that, and I'm like, look, it's a business. It's not a baby. You need it to grow. You need help with people to do that. And, part of my schooling has really helped, not just, I say a lot of the marketing stuff, but like you mentioned with you, shades and everything, you start growing and start scaling. How do you produce? Where do you manufacture? How do you ship? The logistics of everything, all that stuff becomes, okay, now what do we do? How do we change our footprint? Do we have to change shipping companies and stuff like that? So it's issues like that I can also help with outside of marketing because of the background and the education that I've gone through so far.
Yeah. Well, it's great to hear that you're continuing to keep going, and we need to do this again. So you said you're getting your doctorate. When's that going to happen? How much time do you have on that? Is it just like taking a class here and there, or is it going to be, a couple of years, or what do we got?
Oh man, it's a drudge. It's 3 years. So it's still a PhD level program, but done in 3 years. It's called an executive doctorates, which means instead of me developing the theories and processes to do research, I'm going to do research, and it's going to be actively applied to the thing that I'm researching. Uh-huh. So it's still a doctorate. It's not in theory, but in practice. And it is, I have to go out to Oklahoma State University every single month.
Oh man.
So I go August, I go September, I go October, November, off December, go January, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. And then I start my thesis and research and everything else after that.
Oh man. So that's the fun part too, right?
It's going to be intense.
Yeah. That was one of the main reasons I never really wanted to get a doctorate, because I didn't want to do a thesis. I was like, I've had enough with this master's writing all these papers. I'm done.
Glutton for punishment, man, I swear.
Yeah. Well, keep moving forward, man. If people are looking for some marketing, whatever it may be, or great videos on motorcycles or cars and things like that, where can they find you?
So for motorcycles, cars, whatever, really business in general, Battle E Media. That is the company. I do have a website right now. It is all motorsports showing, so it doesn't show any of my other stuff because it's brand new. I have to revamp the revamped website that I've already done. Like I said, it keeps changing.
Never change. Yeah, never stops.
I might get Just Start YouTube channel up and running to document what it's like to work full time and do doctors full time.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how much time I have to do that. And then Kalimoto TV is my YouTube channel that I took over. It's all motorcycles. I have a 2025 Ducati that I'm doing a build on. So stay tuned for that. I got most of the parts and I'm waiting for one more part so I can do all the suspension. I'll have brake stuff coming in, rear sets, all the fun stuff. And then I'll probably wrap it myself.
Yeah, it's funny. It's always tough to keep up with you because you have so many different things going. And when the new one popped up, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. That's Chris.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, man. Well, thank you again for being on here. And I look forward to talking to you again. You definitely always have an open invite, and we just want to see where you're at, where you're going, and what you got going on, man. So thank you.
Absolutely, Wes. This is always great to chit chat with you. Hopefully we'll get some baseball stuff going. I'm actually teaching my nephew how to play baseball, so I'm back in it in some way. So
yeah,
it's been good.
It never leaves you, man. It's awesome. All right, everyone. Well, thanks for hanging out for this episode of Shaping Success. If you are looking for window coverings in the Treasure Valley, this is brought to you by Shade Bros. Please give us a call, 208-99-SHADE. We'd love to get you helped out. Until next time, I challenge you to find the shape of your success.